So most of us have been waiting a long time for tonight. Isn't that right? I've been waiting a long time. I agree. When you start thinking about Christmas in October, and then it's November, and then it's December, and it doesn't ever go fast enough if you're one of these little ones. And if you're any older than me, you're going, what happened to October? We're here to celebrate a baby. We're here to celebrate a baby that we've been thinking about for at least 4 weeks, if not longer. And in this baby, we have found all kinds of wonderful stories and songs, and Scripture has been alive. We heard some of them tonight as we told the story in Scripture and in song, and we heard about Mary, and we know about Joseph, and we know that there are other players in the drama. But what we really know is that there's a baby. Let me tell you about that baby, because it's really important for us to know about this baby. You know, I used to think Easter was the thing and Christmas was just eye candy. And let's face it, sometimes it is eye candy. Looks pretty nice in here. You know, after all, it's a baby. Who doesn't like a baby? And I know because I have a new one in my family. He's pretty special. There are things that babies do. Jesus was no different as a baby. I'm just going to tell you that. Let me tell you something. Jesus as a baby was more important than even baby Andrew, my new grandson. Gosh, can I say that with a straight face? Those of you who are grandparents understand that. If you're a parent, you understand that. You understand looking in the eyes of that baby. And you just go, there it is. But what is it that's that? Well, we've been talking about it for 4 weeks at the church here. And the first thing that we know that this baby does is it brings hope. Did you know that? Babies bring hope. If you go to a hospital, you always go to the baby ward if you need hope. You don't go to the ICU. But let's talk about Jesus coming and being hope. It was a dry time when Jesus was born. Want to know how dry? It hadn't rained for 400 years. Now, I'm not talking about physical rain. I'm talking about a word from God. There hadn't been a word from God for 400 years. And I don't know about you, but that sounds like a dry time to me. Now, I know you're taking this baby out, and you don't have to do that. You really don't. You can bring the baby to me, and I'll hold the baby and talk. I'm not afraid. I've never met a baby that I'm afraid of. Babies bring hope. Whenever they're born, people go, wow, life continues. And we celebrate. We throw parties. Now we have the parties before they're even born. We have parties about deciding if they're boys or girls. My daughter went to one once, I think, and she told me they got it wrong. Boy, were they surprised. It still brought hope. Doesn't bring despair. There are other things that baby Jesus brought. He brought peace into a time of despair. He was born into one of the most conflicted times the world had ever seen. Rome was in control of everything, but really they were in control of nothing. There were uprisings all around the world against Rome, and Rome was going with their armies to make peace. And the way they made peace is they beat the other nations into submission and into peacefulness. And Jerusalem was one of those places. Oh, they had rebelled a time or two, but Rome was quick to come and make there be peace. But there was no peace in Jerusalem. By the way, that sounds very familiar, doesn't it? Even to today. But Jesus comes to change that. But he doesn't come as a king on a white stallion. He comes as a baby because we understand that babies change people's lives in ways that war and wars can only dream about. Another thing babies do, they bring joy. I mean, let's just face it. When there's a baby in the room, there's a lot more joy. There's smiles, there's giggles and gurgles. And oh, isn't that cute? You know, it's really amazing. Babies make you smile. You can't help it. And if you can't smile when you see and hear a baby, then you need to go to remedial babysitting class. Because that's what babies are supposed to do. They're supposed to make you smile. They're supposed to bring joy. Even when circumstances would deny it. Look at our world around us. It's really easy to get caught up in the non-joyful things, but here comes Jesus. Here comes a baby. Here comes some hope. Here comes some peace. Here comes some joy. The last thing that the baby brings is love. When all about us, it's really an unloving world. If you don't believe me, go shopping at Macy's when they're having a sale and they have one dress and 4 people wanting it. It ends up being 4 scarves. The disciple John wrote this. In 1 John 4:16, he says, "So we have come to know and to believe the love that God has for us. God is love, and whoever abides in love abides in God, and God abides in him. And we love because he first loved us." You see, God with us, this Emmanuel, this baby that's coming, is about love. Why did God send Jesus? Because he loved us. He loved all of us. Even the people that we don't think are worthy of God's love, God loved and sent Jesus for. I know there are people who want to argue with God about that. They want to say, but, and God says, love them. I love them. I love them. You love them. You see, this love thing is really important. I don't know if you noticed that about babies. Babies have to be loved. We know that. There's been all kinds of studies about babies that don't get loved enough. And babies that don't get loved enough don't live very long. We know that. So we need to love. We need to love these babies, and they've come so that we can love them, and so so that we can love others. Do you know that each person in this room has a need to love someone? Now, I'm pretty sure most of you aren't surprised by that, but we know that we're called to love people. And love comes from God to us and flows through us to others. It doesn't just go from God to us. Wouldn't that be nice if that's all it took? The reality is you can't live that way. People who get loved by God and realize it really almost can't help but share it. Even if we don't want to. God says love. And that's what this baby comes for. And that's why, after living for 33 years, Jesus said, I have to give you a reminder. I forgot. I have one more thing to do. You see, God gave us a reminder. It's called a communion table. And we're going to come to the table here in a minute. This table is about love. And I'm going to sing a song for you. This is Donna's cue to move back to the piano. Poor Donna, she just has to play and play and play. Aren't we glad she's here today? This is a song that I hope I can virtually make it through. Bless you. This is called Joseph's Lullaby. It's Joseph's story about Jesus in the manger. To sleep, my son. This manger for a bed. You have a long road before you. Rest your little head. Can you feel the weight of your glory? Do you understand the price? Or does a father's heart your heart for now? You can sleep tonight. Go to sleep, my son. Go and chase your dreams. this world can wait for one more moment. Go and sleep in peace. I believe the glory of heaven is lying in my arms tonight. Lord, I ask that ye, for just this moment, simply be my child. To sleep, my son.